Welcome to Local Point, your life, your stories, with your host, David Gale.
Hello everyone and welcome to Local Point. I'm your host, David Gale. We'd like to welcome Tal Ehlers into the VTV6 studios today. Tal is the Uintah County Emergency Manager, and it's rather convenient having you here today because as of recording today, we got a whole nother big, huge bout of snow, and maybe something on a lot of people's minds is, how's the snow going to affect us when it starts melting? But maybe before we get to that, Tal, welcome. And for those who are watching who don't understand maybe what your position is, as well as the department, you can tell us a little bit more about emergency management.
I appreciate that. The Office of Emergency Management basically anticipates situations through mitigation and preparation. If there's going to be a crisis, we want to try to make it as small of an issue as possible. And so something that we are doing this year, even starting as far back as January, is we have done a public outreach campaign regarding sandbagging opportunities, and we have included the private sector, the public sector, and we're reaching out to the citizens. And basically the message is that if you're concerned about the snowpack, I know that in our last big group of storms that we had a month ago, we got over 200% up in our mountains. Wow. And now you're right, we just got hit with another bunch of snow here in the last couple days. And so with that snowpack, you know, if it all came down just a little bit at a time and it warms up gradually, then it's no problem. We have a regular runoff. But if it should warm up and all that snow decides to come down at once, we could end up with flooding like we experienced back in 2011. And so what the Office of Emergency Management did starting about a month ago was we went out to our local retailers in the community, out to our hardware and our home improvement stores, our farm supply and our ranch supply, and even to our concrete supply companies here in Uintah County. And we asked if they would be a part of a campaign to carry bags or sand or put them together, sell them as sandbags, but where people that live next to a ditch, next to a canal, next to a river, if they have experienced spring runoff flooding in the past, they have the opportunity to go ahead and purchase those items, and they can defend their homes against rising floodwaters. And it's important that people understand there is a difference between a no-notice event and an expected event. And what we're seeing right now is an expected event. We know we had over 200% snowpack in the mountains. We know that we're going to see spring runoff coming down through the spring into April, May, June. We know that that's going to happen. And so right now, if people suspect that they could be susceptible to some type of flooding, they have the ability to defend their home against that and to prepare. It's just like the urban wildland interface when it comes to wildland fires. Homeowners have a responsibility to clear away debris from their homes, to remove cords of wood from out from under the back patio, or to get rid of the pine needles that are in the front yard so that their home would be more protected as a structure if there was a wildland fire. Same thing with rising floodwaters. If we know that we have citizens that are going to experience flooding, they have a responsibility to change their landscaping, make sure that the landscaping slopes away from the home, and get sandbags if you're worried about situations where the waters could come and rise up out of a canal or a ditch or off of the riverbank, and protect your homes and take advantage of the time that you have to prepare, which is now, before those spring before that spring runoff really comes.
Right. So what we're saying is there's a common sense approach to protecting your home, and when you know that there's a possibility of something happening, regardless of what it is, a fire, a flood in this case, to do something about it instead of waiting for the last minute and going, oh no, now I need help.
Right. That's exactly it. And when you look at the cost of sandbags, maybe somebody is going to spend $100 or $200 on sandbags. But when you look at the cost, if your home is flooded, if your basement gets water in it and the damage there, carpet or maybe a bookshelf or drywall or something like that, and you start to look at your insurance policy and you see what is covered and what's not covered, or you look into what is your deductible, a few sandbags bought from your local home and hardware improvement store, your concrete concrete supply, ranch supply, farm supply. It's cheap. It's really cheap to do some sandbagging and change your landscaping a little bit and stuff so it slopes away from the home, but protect your home against the spring runoff, which is something that we have every single year out here in the basin.
And a much higher percentage of it being dangerous this year. I'm not sure if dangerous is the right word to use.
You know, it's interesting. You have a no-notice event. People have asked me, they've said, you know, in the past, the county has given us sandbags. And they're right. In 2011, in the flash floods, thunderstorms that we had in 2014, and even 6 months ago in 2016, that's right. The county came out, we got together with our fire department and our law enforcement and our faith-based organizations, our volunteer organizations, and we had huge sandbagging projects, and we gave sandbags to people because it was a no-notice event where it did turn into an emergency.
Right.
This is not an emergency. This is something that we've already known about for a month. This is something that the citizens have time to prepare and mitigate against. And so in this particular situation, homeowners are encouraged to prepare their own properties against potential spring runoff. And once again, I say potential because we don't know how this is going to come down. We don't know how quickly it's going to warm up. But then at the same time, the sandbags that the county has prepared will be used for protecting the critical infrastructure that affects everybody in Uintah County, not individual homes, but roads and bridges and culverts and things that deal with, say, the rec district or whatever. We want to protect those tax-paid commodities, entities, assets from any spring runoff that we would face also. So we're trying to be very judicious and very strategic with the resources that we do have in the county. And we're trying to save taxpayers the money where we have that opportunity.
In the long run. I've got a lot more questions for you. We don't have a whole lot of time, but stay with us. We're going to be right after this break, talk more to Tal about maybe what you can do to protect your own home.
The Vernal Area Chamber wants to add your business in our network. Create change with various committees. Participate in community events and have a strong business resource behind your company's goals. Learn more at vernalchamber.org.
Welcome back to Local Point. Before we went to the break, we were talking about spring runoff and what you can do to prepare your home and what the county can do to help. And mainly at this point in time, it is to inform them, the public, that they should really be taking responsibility for themselves right now. So my question is, you know, there's maybe a litmus test that says if it's flooded in your house before, there's a good chance it's going to flood again. But if you're new to the area and you don't know, what are some of the ways that we can tell of whether or not we should be preparing right now? I mean, do I need to worry about my house?
You know, just because you flood during a thunderstorm doesn't mean you'll flood during spring runoff and vice versa. So you can go to the county website and you can look up and see if your home is in a floodplain.
Oh, nice.
And it's very, very simple to do. And you're able to go into the community development area and look at those floodplain maps. And some other things, maybe you work with your community. People will sometimes set up their sandbags and they'll say, okay, well now I'm defended against this flood water, but you're going to push it right into your neighbor's yard. So maybe you go out as a community and you say, what do we need to do to get the water around these houses all the way to the end of the road where it's going to go into that ditch or into that canal or it's going to move on down. And so that communities are able to work together with sandbagging. Another thing, when you are sandbagging, please don't dam the water. You don't want to stop it. You want to give it a place to go. You want to give it a route. As I've said before, the water follows the path of least resistance. And so give it a place to go. Let it go where you want to go. Direct it so that it gets out of your hair. Another couple of really simple things people can do is when they're doing landscaping, when they're doing their things outside their home, planter boxes and so on, make sure that you grade the earth away from the home so that water doesn't come up against it and then just pool and sit there. And that's also very important, as people are going to be getting out in the spring. They're looking at their landscaping, and maybe you need to get some filtered in there and shore up the earth that's right around the house so that it pushes the water away from the home.
And you said that there are retailers in town that we've gone to, and they're prepared with sand now, with bags now?
Yes, and they have been so wonderful in supporting this. You know, this has gone out on the news, on the radio, on social media. It's been on news around the state, and the local retailers just came together, and they were so supportive and said, we would be more than happy to go ahead and support this, and people are welcome to shop at the local retailers and go to their favored retailer and purchase these supplies. And then as we get farther down the line, as we look at where flooding may happen due to the runoff, depending on how quickly it comes down, then the county is able to go ahead and assess where we may need some reinforcements and where there may need to be some help with the county and with the Office of Emergency Management. But right now, when we look across, say, the states or the western United States, people have called my office and they've said, well, how come they're just giving away sandbags up in Tremont or up in Garland? How come we're not doing that here? Because they're having an entirely different experience than what we're having here. So far, what we've seen here in the basin in just the last couple of weeks have been a handful of homes where people have been inconvenienced, no question, but where they are not having their homes inundated with 4 feet of water like there were in some other places around the state. So that's why the management plan for Uintah County has been different than what people have reported seeing on the news in other parts of the state or in other parts of the western United States.
From your experience, the knowledge that you have right now, how likely are we to actually have some real flooding?
You know, I've talked to the head of the Uintah Water Conservancy District, and he said, you know, if we had 2 or 3 more really good storms, which last night we had one, if we had 2 or 3 of those, then it could change. But he made the comment that if we don't see a lot before April 1st, which is a month away, that we could have a very routine runoff. And so once again, it comes back as a homeowner, I want to make sure that I've prepared myself. I want to make sure that I have the equipment that I need to defend my home against rising flood waters, because like I said, when I check my insurance coverage and I find out what's covered and what's not covered, you know, it's easier to just pick up some sandbags and put them down and let the snow come, let the water run by.
Protect your house.
And I'm going to be very, very happy that I took those steps, because nobody wants to call out a company to come and pump out your basement. That's not fun. And we do have some of those companies here in town, and I know that they do a really good job, but
appreciate them, but
you don't want to lose your keepsakes in the basement.
Safe,
No.
Well, thank you, Tal, for coming and giving us this information. Of course, thank you all for watching Local Point. Stay tuned for this week's community calendar, and hey, keep your home safe.
The Vernal Area Chamber wants to add your business in our network. Create change with various committees. Participate in community events and have a strong business resource behind your company's goals. Learn more at vernalchamber.org.
Hey there, my friends. Welcome to this week's community calendar, brought to you by the Vernal Area Chamber of Commerce. They are building commerce one member at a time. You may notice we have another week of just me. No graphics, so I'm going to do my best to interpret the events of the week with my hands and my face. All right, starting Friday, February 24th, because that's the week we're talking about, there is a retreat. It's a women's retreat called Free the You Inside. It's happening in Altamont both Friday and Saturday. It's about learning to love yourself and your body, but you're going to need to make sure you reserve a spot. Go to evenbright.com. That's spelled EVENBRITE.com, not GHT, Bright. Also, Friday, February 24th, we've got another teen lock-in at Uintah County Library. So these lock-ins, teens come and they lock them in, and then they do fun stuff. At this one, they're going to be showing Newsies, the movie. They're going to be playing Capture the Flag and playing Turf Wars. I got no idea what Turf Wars is, but hey, it sounds like fun. They're also going to have popcorn and cotton candy. It must be popular because they do these things all the time. This is from 6:30 to 10 p.m. Get a hold of the library. You probably could just show up too, as long as you're a teen and you're responsible. On Saturday, February 25th, Uintah County Library is hosting VITA or VITA. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's spelled VITA. It stands for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. Basically, if your annual household income is $54,000 or less, you can have your taxes done for free. Just show up there. No, don't just show up there. Actually, call a number 1-888-826-9790 or call 211. I should have given you that number first. It's way easier. Just call 211. Set an appointment. Now taking a look into next week. This is February 27th through March 5th. We're into March already. Since we have no graphics, let's just jump into the important stuff. On Friday, March 3rd, I'm so excited for this. Uintah High School presents Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. They've been working on this forever. Our very own Chris Piner directs this. And if you've been to any of the shows, you know these guys put on award-winning performances. Incredible set design. And Chris has told me about the car, the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car, that it does some pretty special stuff. Anyway, make sure you get tickets. Get it from a student. They kind of get credit for that, so find somebody you know. This is March 3rd and 4th, 6th and 7th, 9th through the 11th. And then that's it. It's your only chance to see. You got to go see the show. You know it's going to be amazing. So excited for this. Saturday, March 4th, Dr. Seuss Brunch happening in Roosevelt at the library at 11 a.m. There's going to be stories and crafts and light refreshments. And if you come dressed as your favorite Dr. Seuss character, you could be entered in for a prize. My favorite Dr. Seuss character, Gerald McBoing Boing. Look it up. And of course, don't forget Saturday, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang as well. Let's talk about weather. Usually there'd be like a big weather graphic that comes in. I'm just going to tell you about it. The weekend, the snow that you've been seeing recently is going to start going away. So if there was a Friday here, there'd be like part snow. And if there was a Saturday here, it'd be like mostly cloudy. And if there was Sunday here, it would be mostly sunny because the temperatures are going to start going down, but the sun is going to come up. That's usually what happens after a storm. By Sunday, this one over here, you're going to see highs in the 20s, lows down to about 8 degrees. Then next week, we're going to push this graphic aside and bring in a new one with 7 days on it. We've got another storm system moving in on Monday, which is going to be right at the beginning here. About a 60% chance of snow. After that, spring will start to slowly creep in. You got more sunshine. In fact, right around here, it's like all sun, like no clouds at all. And your highs are going to start going up as well. You're going to inch towards Sunday here with your lows in the, the low 40s will be your high over here on Sunday. It's like 42 degrees. And your low is going to be like 25. Over here, it's more like 19 high and 8 low. Warms up this direction. Boy, I hope that looks right on your side. I think it works right. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, good. They say it's all good. Hey, that's all the time we have for Community Calendar this week. If you got an event coming up, let us know. 435-781-1902. 1902. Or leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Like VTV6 on Facebook. You guys got anything else? That's a wrap. We're out of here. Take it easy.